Right, hopefully everything's up and running. This is just a surprise match, a doubles match that I decided just to do a bit of streaming of, and it's a money match for $75 Scotch Doubles 9-ball race to 9, and we've got Wink at Me and Hazard, who are teamed up to play Larry and Potman. And we're in the first rack, just started. We've got the 3-ball tied up in the top left behind the 7th, so that's going to need a bit of work. And Wink at Me's now got ball in hand. Potman, sorry, Larry missed a kick there on the 2-ball. And Wink at Me trying to get the split. Probably would have been better going off the short rail at the top end with a bit of left hand inside English there to try and split them if he had the angle. I didn't get round to have a look at it, but it seemed a better way to do it, but Wink at Me knows best. Hazard trying to get right over to the right hand side to try and hide from that 3-ball, but I think he's left an edge out, and if Potman gets this right, he needs a little bit of right hand English to get the spin off the rail and try and get that cue ball. Well, he hasn't hit it. He hasn't hit that. Hit it far too thick and too soft, and he hasn't got the distance. And now Wink at Me's got the chance to get it right, and he too is way short. You've got to try and get a wee bit more distance. So somebody's going to get this right. Let's have a look. Well, there isn't a gap there now, I don't think. So it's an easy enough kick. This could go in, this 3-ball. And is there enough of the 3 just to catch an edge of it? Yes, there is. That needs to bounce a bit. So it's a good angle for Larry. Just to pot the 4 and get out as far as he can, but hopefully, let's check the little doodle. He wants to get somewhere on this side of the table if he can. Let's see if you can get better lines than that. Now, there is enough angle. Needs to be careful he avoids that middle pocket, Potman. And he doesn't want to overhit this, and he's overhit it. Needs to keep going. And that's actually ended up not too bad, although it's the wrong angle in the 6. But Larry can pot the 6. You're going to have to play this with a little bit of right to come off the rail and punch it across for the 7. Just a feather of right English, which makes the pot a wee bit more difficult. And he's got the English. He's avoided the 8. And that's not bad. And Potman needs to get his pace right again. He doesn't want to go too far. If he just plays the natural angle here, he's going to come out. But he doesn't want to go down in this corner here. And he's missed the pot. Got it all wrong, and he's left it on. Wink at Me just gently dropping in, leaving the cue ball deep in the corner, and that's dead straight, and that's the problem. And he doesn't want to try and steal too much here. He's going to have to leave his partner at distance on this 9. Well, he's hit it as slow as he can. It's still an awkward cut. So the first rack is on the board. And it goes to Hazard and wink at me. And it's winner breaks. I believe it's winner breaks. I haven't double checked that. Dry break. And a shot in the 1. 2 over the right hand corner. 3 in the open. 4 into the right middle. And the problem ball's the 5 ball. Top end of the table. It looks as if it's blocked off by that 8 ball. So work to get done. Now, there is one option. If you pot the 3 and leave a little slight angle in the 4, you can drop down for the 5 and take it from that side. That should be the plan, because we can see that the 5 doesn't go and past that 8 ball, so got to be thinking ahead here. And now Larry's got the perfect shot here just to leave Potman on that 4 ball. Now, does he want to get him to take it long and roll through for the 5, or does he want to leave him a nice angle to drop down for the 5? And he's left him the nice angle, what we showed just a minute ago, and now he can just drop down off the rail and leave his partner a shot in the 5. That needed to go a wee bit more. It's okay, it can be potted, but he wanted to be probably somewhere up in that direction, a wee bit more, another 2 or 3 inches, just to make it a bit more comfortable. But still expect Larry to get this. Got the pace right. Now the shot here, let's have a look. No, there's a bit too much angle, so he's going to have to come across the table. And this is where he's got to be careful as well, because if he gets too much drag onto this shot, he can scratch in the right middle pocket. He's too much angle, I think, to draw past the short side of the 7, so he's got to go across the table and up. Now, he took a big risk there, just avoided the scratch. That was always a danger, but it's actually, although Larry's playing from distance, he's got the perfect angle in the 7 to run around 2 or 3 rails here. You can go there, there, and there. So the danger is hooking Potman behind that 9 ball. So Larry's got to get plenty of pace in this to get it running. And that's why he's missed the 7. Always a problem playing shots like that from distance. And I think, well, he actually got Potman on the 8. But it wasn't an easy shot, because Larry had to put spin on that cue ball, and that's always setting it offline. So wink at me choosing to go and leave it a thin cut here for Hazard. He's asking Hazard quite a bit here to cut this 8 ball and control the cue ball back up the table for that 9, so he's left him nothing easy here. And the pace is a bit too strong, and he's gone where we always talk about in Friday night 9-ball, you never want to be playing a shot from behind the 9. You want to be up here. That's always the objective, because you're always going to be left with a difficult shot when you're behind the 9. And Wink at Me went for the bank, but it's gone reasonably safe. There's nothing easy here for Potman. But this would be a bit of a bonus to get a rack in the board here. Now, if he's going to play this plain ball to cut that 9, he has to watch the scratch here. There's always a danger in the top corner pocket if it's just going to be plain ball. Look at the cue ball. Commentator's eye again, folks. That was always going to be the issue. He just played it plain ball. He had to take evasive action there. You have to get something on the cue ball to avoid that scratch. I'll just let them know. So, Potman had his chance, albeit a not too easy chance, but walked straight into the scratch. And it's 2-0 to Hazard and Wink at Me. And somehow the 1 ball's managed to sneak in, even though it hit the 2. And the 2, I think, goes past the 6, no problem. Again, there's plenty of room, a huge area to get on this 3 ball. And the worst thing he'll do is finish behind that 4. Well, he's played it square, so the big problem now is whether Larry again can leave Potman an angle on this 4 to allow Potman to try and get the cue ball back up towards the 5. And it looks as if Potman might have to pot this 4 into the right middle and run the cue ball down off this bottom rail where the 7 and the 6 is and back up the left hand side of the table. Well, Larry's trying to get it too good there, and he's made a hash of both shots. He's left Hazard, I think, a pot on the 3. I think he can get past the 5. Yeah, he's going to be running into the 5 though, and that's probably why he missed the 3. So now Potman has a shot in the 3, but he's maybe going to have to try and just pinch off that jaw and try and nudge the 3. Well, he's digging out the jump stick. This might not be the best of moves here. Yeah, Larry was trying, as we know, to try and get good on the 4. Well, Potman's managed to get the jump, but of course, been deep in that corner. He had no real idea where the cue ball's going to end up, and it's ended up hooked behind the 8 ball, so Larry with more work to do. And it's hard to say whether he's played it long. I thought he might have tried to cut that into the middle, but it's finished perfect. And Potman has an easy enough 5 ball. And think he's okay. Thought he's going to be hampered by that 9. So Larry needs just a slight angle for Potman on this 7. And that's a slight angle. That's perfect. He can either go forward with a little inside right English just to check the cue ball off the right rail, or he can come back the way. He's gone forward, and that's not bad. Now Larry will probably play this with inside right, so that when he pots the 8 ball, the cue ball, instead of going that way, the cue ball comes back this way to leave Potman the shot on the 9 into the corner. It's unlikely Larry will go around the angles. It wouldn't be. He's looking to play right hand English here, just to check the cue ball and come back this way. But he needs to get down here. Well, he's checked it, but he's actually not checked it enough, because the forward momentum's brought it a bit further this way, so that's making it a wee bit more difficult for Potman. He's got more of an angle, and he's made a complete hash of that. I don't think he really lined himself up very well on that 9 ball, and it's going to be 3-0. So not a very impressive first 3 racks here for Larry and Potman. They're going to have to get themselves motivated here. Now that was the 6 ball into the top right, I think. And there is a shot in the 1, but look at where the 2 is. Cue ball's probably going to clip into that 2 ball, so it's anybody's guess as to where things are going to end up here. It's not an easy cut in the 2 on the 1. So Hazard did the sensible thing, and he's hiding up in the top corner. And that's a reasonably good safety, because I don't even think he can see any of that 1 ball. Full ball snooker. So Larry is in trouble here, because there is not a good angle off that left hand side. There's traffic in the way of this shot. The 3 ball and the 5 ball are the problem, and this will be a good hit if he can get there. Oh, he's managed to find the gap between the 3 and the 5. Okay, he's left a shot, but he did the best he could in actually hitting the 1 ball. It was not easy to judge. So Hazard and Wink at Me with another opportunity. And of course, if there's going to be a difficult ball, it could be the 4 ball that's quite close to that side rail. So it's all about getting good from the 3 to the 4. And that's gone a bit too far. Too much spin on that. So Wink at Me's now got... Well, he's got a straight choice here. He can go all out for the pot, but he can actually play a good safety off this 3. Because if he's potting this 3, he's obviously got to think about his partner having a shot in the 4. So it's not easy. Well, I don't know. I certainly don't think he planned to hit the 5, because this 4 ball isn't a good bank. It's too close to the rail. Well, he almost got there. Now, can Potman pot this 4 and avoid the scratch? I think he can. But of course, again, the problem is trying to get Larry on this 5. And Potman doesn't want to try and do too much with the cue ball here. I think he can avoid the scratch. Well, then again, maybe not. And it's a gift for Wink at Me and Hazard here. If they can pot these 4 balls for 4-0. Again, we have this problem. Look at where the 9 is. And Wink at Me controlled the cue ball nicely this time. Playing the 9 from the right side of it rather than dropping behind it, low on it. So it's now 4-0. And, well, Larry and Potman are going to have to make a move here. So Hazard breaks off in rack number 5. The break, I think, is dry. And it's not an easy table here for Larry. Okay, he can pot the 1. But again, he's going to have to get that cue ball across. Just a bit too much on it. And Potman's in trouble here. And I think Potman's just rushing it a bit too much. That won't impress Larry. And meanwhile, Wink at Me stunning out off the 2. Like I said, I don't think that'll impress Larry, and I don't think he is impressed. But it is a chance here. Good evening, Bedhead. I'm just watching Potman falling apart here. Larry and Potman 4-0 down and have a golden opportunity to get off the mark. Once again, this type of shot, all about just controlling the pace. He's got too much angle on this 5, but he's controlled the pace well. And surely this has got to be their first rack. I mean, there's literally nothing to do with the cue ball here other than pot the 6. Come across to the left if Larry can, which he's done. I think he's leaving it a bit straight though. You see, that's all it needs to just cause slight problems. There is a slight angle there for Potman, so he can go forward off the end rail and get the pace right, which he has done. So now they're in business. And just a simple roll in for Potman and Larry to get off the mark. And of course, break off in rack number 6. Ball in the break. How's the luck on the first ball? Well, again, it's just finished awkward. The 8 ball's gone down. Very thin cut in the 1. And if Potman can make sure he keeps this cue ball somewhere out in the open in the table, he'll give Larry a shot in the 2. But he has to get enough pace in it to get the pot. And that'll do it. That's a little bit of luck you need. The little kiss off the 5 has worked out very nicely. Now let's look at the 4. We can see the 4 goes past this 7 ball, so there's nothing needs to be moved here. Nothing needs to be moved. It's just about getting the cue ball out, and on the next ball you don't need to try and be flashy and do anything stupid. And the example is going to be here, because that angle that Larry's left pot man on the 3 is awkward, and it is awkward from the point of view that the 9 ball's in the way. It would have been easy to, in fact I don't even think he can hold this for the, even if the 9 ball wasn't there, I don't think he could hold this for the 4 with inside English. There's too much angle, and he's more than likely going to hook Larry behind the 5. Now what's he done here? He's avoided the 9, and I don't know whether Larry can get enough of the 4. He might try kicking it in off the rail, but I'm not convinced he can see enough of that 4 to pot it. It looks very tight. He's going to cut it into the 7 if he tries to squeeze this. Yeah, he tried to come off the rail and cut it, and it was very difficult. But it does stem from the shot that Larry left pot man there. He just got too much angle on it to make anything comfortable, and of course the 9 ball was the biggest obstacle. It was not easy, so it's so easy to get out of shape. Just that slight angle left pot man in trouble, and Wink at Me and Hazard have now got their golden opportunity to respond and open up the gap again. So all hinges on this one. If Hazard can pot the 6 and get good on this 7. And that will do. Needs to come off the rail though, but it's a good angle. And we see this time and time again. Now Wink at Me can go forward. He can go 2 or 3 different ways here, whatever he wants to do, but he doesn't want to finish on the low side of that 9. Where's the cue ball going? I think it's okay. Well, he's on the low side, so it is a cut into a blind pocket here for Hazard. Very easy to overcut this to that top jaw. But he's managed to get it. And that mistake by Potman in that last rack, not giving Larry a full sight on the 7 ball. I think it was the 7 ball. It's cost them, so the gap goes back to 4 racks. Oh, that's the dilemma you've got in every game. But it's worse when you're playing with a partner. And that last rack there, if Larry hadn't got Potman out of line too much on that ball, Potman could have got Larry a sighter on it. It was just too much angle to, and an awful lot of work to do with the cue ball in such a narrow window to get on the object ball. It was so difficult, and that's what cost him the rack. This time Potman tucking the cue ball up, and it should still be an easy enough kick for Wink at Me. He can actually kick it off 2 rails here in behind the 2, or he can do that and pot the 2. That's a bonus. And what's more, if Hazard plays this shot right, I think he can pot that 3, and the natural angle should drop him behind the 4, I think. He's just got to get the pace. He's avoided the 4, and that will do nicely. And Hazard again just needs to drop the 4 in. The cue ball will do the rest. It will come out into the table and give his partner a decent shot in the 7. And that's perfect. You can either draw across for the 8 or go off the end rail and back up for the 8. Might be a wee bit more than desired here on this 8 ball. And Hazard doesn't want to roll this in plain ball. He wants to stun this across because the scratch was on, and that'll do. So it's now going to be 6-1. And I think this is pretty much a break and run, that rack there. Nothing that Larry and Popman could do there. Will they get another chance? They need to win a couple of quick racks if they're going to get back in this match, or it's just going to run away. Race to 9. And the break from Wink at Me there, another dry one. And not an easy shot for Larry, hanging right in the middle pocket with the cue ball, and an awkward cut in the 1. Yeah, not easy. Now, how does that look? Well, I think that's easy enough to actually kick in. Then again, when you look up the table, there is a window just to the right of that 8 ball, and in between the 7 and the 9. Now, that's just on the middle diamond, and just before it, he's judged the angle well. Of course, the difficulty there is, again, not knowing where the cue ball's really going to end up. So Wink at Me has a good chance for a decent safety here. He can get distance between the cue ball and the 2, and there's somewhere to hide the 2 up in that top end of the table. Well, these went all out for the bank. Well, they should be in trouble here if Popman plays this shot right. Or is he going to try and combo the 9? I think I'd be looking to tuck that cue ball up. Although he's very close to the rail, but I think it's get this safe. But it looks like all out for the 9 ball here. Bit of a desperate move. And that's not safe. It is not an easy shot in the 2. And once again, if it's just a plain ball shot in the 2, there is a chance this could scratch. Hard to say whether he played the pot there or the safety, but it looks more likely he played the safety. Now Larry could go off the right hand side of the 2 and go around the angles and try and get up in that top right hand corner, but you need to avoid the 7 ball. Or is he trying the bank? It's not a good bank, this 2 ball either, being so close to the rail. Always going to be a double kiss. And he's tried to get away from it, but he's hit it too thick, but I think he's got away with it. It looks as if he has. Let's have a look. Yeah, that... I don't think Wink at Me can see enough of the 2. Yeah, well, he obviously thought he could squeeze it a wee bit, but he's filled the 7. So, ball in hand. And it's another opportunity, and they really have to take this out, and it's not a perfect table here. 4 ball into the right middle. 5 ball down the rail. It's all about getting the cue ball in the right spot. And Larry's overcooked it. And straight away they're out of line. And Potman's left with no option but the jump shot here. Now, can he keep this cue ball on the table when the object ball that you're trying to hit is close to a rail? Well, he's got the hit in the 4 and it's gone safe. They'll be happy with that. Now, what does Hazard do? The bank isn't on. I don't think it's on. Well, believe it or not, it is. It's very tight. You just try to get it thin and get the distance. And that's a good shot. Now, we know what Larry's like. This 4 ball's far enough off the bottom rail for Larry to go for the cut. He's not thinking about safety. He's thinking about sticking this away. But how good can he get Potman on this 5? It's not going to be easy. Entirely the wrong angle here. He's going up and down, and he's got that wee bit of luck. The wee kiss off the 7 will do very nicely. Now, this is, it's straight, and Potman doesn't want to try and squeeze anything more out of this. He's got a slight angle he can pinch, and he can just drop through to leave Larry long on the 6 into this bottom right hand corner. That's all he needs to do. And well, I don't think, I mean, he's actually left it pretty straight, but the difficulty here is judging the control of the cue ball to get out for this 7. That's not the way I would have played it. I would have kept it a lot more simpler than this. It looked a lot easier to drop through and play the 6 long. You see, look what's happened. Larry's been left thinking too much to get good in the 7. And Potman should have just rolled through. If he potted the ball, sorry, that isn't a good line, but if he potted the ball and just rolled through, he pinched that angle slightly, would have left the pot down in here, and much easier to get in this, the 7. And that's blown their chance. From ball in hand, remember, you've really got to be thinking and plotting your way out. And it wasn't a good choice, a shot by Potman. And so Hazard or wink at me. I've been gifted the chance. Well, that's way too strong. In fact, it's so strong it might actually still leave a cut. Let's have a look. It's thin, but it's all out. All out for the cut. And if that, oh, it's hung up. Well, surely this time. But look at where the 8 is. This is the one it's the toughest shot in the game. Is getting control of that cue ball from deep in a pocket where the object ball is, and getting good on that 9. This is never a good shot to try and judge. That'll do. It needs to keep running. That's not bad. So Larry's got his chance to get another rack. In it goes. Well, that was a surprise. The cut that Winketme had, it wasn't a gimme, but it was a surprising miss, hanging it up in the pocket. And we're now back to 6-2. And Potman and Larry simply have to break and get balls on the break and get a shot. Well, we can see where the problem is here. They've got a ball in the break, but they've got no shot in the one. And look at where the 9 is. 9's sitting there waiting to be knocked in. And Larry, well, what's he doing here? Is he trying to cut that into the middle? Or is he trying to get thin? Or is he just thinking about his options? I think he's thinking about his options here. But if that one ball goes anywhere near that 9, it's rack over. And Larry looking to get safe here. It's difficult to say what he's trying to do. Is he trying to go thin and get in behind the 7? Oh, all out for the pot. But look at what happens. He's collided with the 7. He's left Potman nothing in the 2, and this is where it can go all wrong, because Potman can certainly jump the 5 and he can certainly hit the 2, but he does not want to move that 2 anywhere up the table near that 9, or this could be all over this rack. So he wants to be jumping it and hitting it that side of the 2, because that way it's going to go that way somewhere rather than anywhere over this side of the table. He doesn't want to have it anywhere down here for a sight in that 2-9 combo. And he looks as if he's going off the left side, the right side as we look at it, and that's not what I'd be doing. Got to go off that left side as we look. He's hit it full in the face. And okay, it's not safe, but it's a pot in the 2 and it's going to be a 3-9 combo. So it's still, the prospects are not good here for Larry and Potman in this rack. And that's if Hazard can pot the 2 and get that cue ball off the right rail and maybe off the left rail and back out. No, he's hitting it soft. And that's still good enough. That'll do nice. And it's not a difficult combo. You just have to concentrate on where you hit that 3 to send it just up to the jaw. And then it goes. Well, that was always going to be the outcome there. Something was going to be knocked onto that 9. And unfortunately for Larry and Potman, Larry's shot colliding with a 7, locking Potman full ball snooker in the 2, and the outcome was pretty much inevitable. So it's now 7-2. And the 2 ball just creeps in. Shot in the 1. And good angle to get up the table. Well, this will all go wrong if Hazard hooks Winketme behind the 6. And he's hooked him. Now, what's he left? Well, he's going to jump that. Well, the bank isn't on. The bank can be made on that top left-hand corner pocket. There's a danger of scratching off the 4 if he tries that. So he's just played the safety. Now, once again, Larry has a simple enough safety shot here. You can go off the 4, off that edge, cue ball up the table, and bank the 4 towards this end rail here. That would be the safety. And that will do very nicely. Now the question is, can Wink at Me manufacture a billiard shot here? I don't know. I think it's... Let's have a look. No, he can't get enough of the 4, I don't think. He might be able to just put a bit of a little massy on this. He's maybe trying to just clip off the 4 and knock that 7. Oh, he's got the double kiss. I think he tried to get the little billiard onto the 7, but double kiss in the 4 put paid to that shot. And once again, Popman has a shot here, but it is not easy. He's played it well, judged the pace well, and Larry can... I think he can get through and leave Popman in the short side of the 6. Well, Popman has got nothing to worry about here other than not overhitting this 6 ball and leaving Larry a cut on the 7. And that's not bad. It needs to bounce. That's gone dead straight. And Larry... I don't think Larry wants to get too ambitious here. Is he going to try and pinch this to get the cue ball out, or is he just going to drop it in? He's just dropping it in. That was a sensible shot. And Popman, well, he can roll it in gentle, or he can just put a wee bit of punch on it. But this should be another rack to Larry and Popman, if Larry can put this 9 away. So, with the break in rack number 11, Larry and Popman still trail by 4. Well, that's a good break, but it's ended up dry. And what's more, Hazard has a shot in the 1. It's going to be an awkward shot here for Wink at Me on this 2. But Hazard's actually got him in as good a position as he possibly could there. And it's simple here. Wink at Me just pots the 2 and gets over towards that 4 ball on the right rail as far as he can to make it simpler. And that's perfect. Perfect to pot the 3, drop behind the 7, and leave Wink at Me on the 4. And just kill the cue ball on the 4, and you've got the 5 into the middle. Wink at Me can afford a little draw here. Is he going forward? He's going forward, but same outcome. Just get the cue ball up towards the 5. Well, that was a little draggy shot. Just a wee bit more angle on this than Wink at Me would really like, but and you see he's tried to pinch to hold for the 7, and that's where it's gone wrong there. immediately you could see just a wee bit too much angle on the 6, because the cue ball was always wanting to go that direction, and Winketme was just trying to pinch it just to keep it on the 7, and that's why he's missed the 6. Just trying to get a bit too cute there, but it's a chance for Larry and Potman to quickly pinch another one. All about the shot here on the 8. Larry has to get Potman good on this 8 to make it simple for him to drop onto that 9 for him. And that should be fine, because if he just pots the 8, the cue ball has to be going in that direction, and he has to get just the pace so he can come off and leave Larry the shot in the 9. He doesn't need to do anything with the cue ball, just pot the 8. It's followed the line, and that'll do. And this is what Larry and Potman needed. A couple of quick racks to try and turn this match around. It's all in their hands now. It's all about the break and getting a ball down and getting a shot. They need that wee bit of luck. It doesn't look as if they're going to get it though. Nothing doing. Well, I think this is the crucial rack in the match, because Winketme and Hazard are waiting to go to the hill, and Larry and Potman are looking to narrow the gap to 2, so this could be the crucial rack here, where the match could go either way. Larry plays the bank, gives Potman a shot in the 2 with nothing more to do than pot the 2 and roll through and give Larry the long pot in the 3, but he has to get Larry an angle on that 3. Anywhere there is ideal, because he can pot the 3 and just run out for the 4. He wants to be on the inside of the 3. That's the ideal position. That's what I'd be looking for. And he's left it short, and he's actually left Larry nothing here. That was a poor shot. He had all the room to overhit that and go to the rail and even come out, and he's left it short behind the 4. And this is how opportunities, and this isn't the first one that they're literally thrown away here. Got to try and get themselves out of this hole in this rack, and Larry's managed to get it in. He's managed to pinch it, and that's a good shot, because I don't think he could see enough of that. At least my eyes didn't say that, but who am I to judge? But still work to get done. And he's got to avoid the 7. Well, that might have done him a favour. Well, I didn't think he could see enough of that 4. And I never looked at how he was cueing at it. He had to be putting a little bit of swerve on that just to hit the spot to make the potting angle on that ball. But even so, it's all very well digging that shot out. They've got to get this rack away. And this is the important one. And it's not a big window to get on this 6. And that's a great shot. Got to get the wee angle. I think it's too straight. There is an angle there. And if he pinches this with a bit of left-hand English, he's surely going to run into that 8 ball. If he puts a little bit of bottom right and a little punch, he can come out. Well, you see, he's chickened out to play the right shot there. He's left it awkward. You've got to go for the right shot. But it's gone in. They're not doing it the easy way, but they're getting there. So, Potman, well, surely he won't scratch in the right corner. The angle off there and out, anywhere over here. There's the big window to get into, to get on that 9. Anywhere in that zone is where you want that cue ball to give Larry a decent shot in the 9. But do not scratch in that corner. And that will do. It's not ideal because, again, it's into a blind pocket. And in goes the 9. Well, as I said earlier in this rack, this could be the important rack. And it has gone the way of Larry and Potman, and they're back to within 2. Need a ball in the break, need to get a bit of luck here. And it looks as if it's going to be the same result. Absolutely nothing. And if only the break would work, it might be a different story. With that 4 balls locked up behind the 9 there, so there's nothing doing at that end of the table. Wink at me's got his add on the 2. Needs to be careful here. Could brush off that 6 and scratch. Oh, he's got it thick. That's fine. If he'd hit that thin off the 6, very easy to scratch the corner, but it's actually good on the 3, but not good from the point of view of getting anywhere near moving that 4 ball and 9 ball that are locked up together. And wink at me just trying to get down the table or up the table as we look to give Hazard a shot in the 4. So it's ball in hand for Potman and Larry. Now surely this isn't a dead set combo. Goodness me, look at it. Absolutely plumb. That is plumb. And as Larry says, dead centre, Potman had nothing to do but just hit it. So there is another bonus. Never even looked to see that that was a combo. I just looked to see that they were tied up. So it's now back to within 1. Now this time, there were 2 goes at this and both the breaks have been dry. Now surely this time they're going to get lucky. And they ain't going to get lucky. Well, if only their break would work for them at the right end, the business end of the match, and it ain't happening. But they've still been pinching racks back, but it helps and makes it a lot easier if you can get the odd ball in the break now and again. They've had absolutely nothing at all. Well, look at the table now. The problem ball in this case is a 3 again. And Hazard has got that all wrong. Oh, it's easy just a bit of spin in the cue ball and tweak it and miss that combo. I don't know what Hazard was trying there, but he got the hit all wrong. But not, either way, it's not an easy shot here for Larry because he's going to have to draw this off the side rail, miss the 8 ball, and it's all gone wrong. but it's gone safe. Now, Potman may well find himself in a bit of trouble here when he comes to the table. Oh no, he could squeeze it past the 2. I wish I'd get down and look to see that. I didn't think the 1 would go past the 2. Well, let's look at the 2 then. Well, that goes in every day of the week. Plenty of room off the jaw. But how does Hazard get Wink at Me a shot on the 3? He could go all out for this and try and at least leave Wink at Me some sort of attempt at a combo. And I suppose you can't ask for much more than that. The big bonus would have been if he'd kissed into the 3 and put it on, but he's left Wink at Me a chance. Now you can see obviously the 3 and 6 aren't dead aligned, so he's trying to just hit it in at pocket pace to drop the 6 in. Well, it doesn't matter about that. What matters now is Potman and Larry have their chance, and Potman's left with the toughest shot of all in getting that 3 and getting the cue ball up the table to give Larry something on the 4. And Potman slammed it into the corner, into the jaw, trying his best to get on the 4, which he's actually done, and hung up the 3. But look what Hazard's got. Oh, he's played that well. He's hit that absolutely plumb perfect. If only he's left it a little straight in the 4, but he's at that distance, judging the pace in those shots out of that pocket is so difficult. And Wink at Me could do nothing other than just pot the 4 and leave Hazard long. And Potman, well, that 3 ball looked as if it could do anything other than not go in the hole. But the pace kept it out. And it's given Hazard and Wink at Me their chance to eventually get to the hill. Now, where can this go wrong? Well, it's a bit straight, so all that Hazard can do is just roll forward and leave the cut into the middle. He doesn't want to be trying to do too much here. He could draw back and leave the long shot into the corner, but it's just as easy just to roll forward and leave the cut in the 8. Keep it simple. Just roll over to the jaw while he's playing the draw. And that will do. Again, he's judged it nicely. A simple roll in and a simple roll in to follow in the 9. And it's going to be 8-6. And Potman must be kicking himself because they had that cast iron opportunity there to square the match up. But it's now 8-6. Well, even though the break's gone back to Wink at Me and Hazard, Wink at Me's not had any joy either. Another dry break. I can't remember the last time a ball went in a break. Well, that's thin, but it will drop in dead weight. Well, this is tough for Potman. But the shot is just fraught with the fact that there's too much traffic in the table. Can he avoid hitting anything? Well, he has done. But he's left Larry nothing other than the safety on the 3 ball. He's just going to try and skim off the 3 and run up towards that 8 with a little bit of help in left English, and that's as best he could do there, being so close to the 3. That might have not been the best of shots. It certainly wasn't. The potman can only go forward off this 3 ball, and once again, if he rolls it in gentle, he's at least leaving Larry a cut in the 4. He doesn't want to try and do too much, just roll in the 3 as gentle as he can, and that just wiped its feet. But Larry's got a shot. Well, from a dismal start, going 4-0 down, and potman threatening a nervous breakdown, they've somehow got themselves back into the match, but they haven't quite got there. They had the chance in that last rack, and you don't think they're going to get many more. Larry's overcooked that. Can potman thin it in? Yes, he can. He's just going to have to concentrate on the pot and the 5. Now, can he pot that? He can just skim on it. He's not going to scratch if he doesn't start trying to do things with the cue ball. He just needs to pot the 5 and let the cue ball run. He's putting bottom and draw and all sorts there on that shot. Just pot the 5 and let the cue ball run. He's playing this with inside English to try and check it off the rail. And he's overdone it. Well, now Larry has the tough shot here. Does he want to just drop this in dead weight into the middle and try and run through? He'll still, I don't think he'll have potman perfect in the 7 if he does that, but he's not got many other opportunities here. Well, it looks as if it's going to be a little punch. He's stolen as much of the pocket as he can. Well, he couldn't put potman any better on that 7, and he's got to go top. Plenty of top, and just let the cue ball run again. He's got to finish up at this end of the table. Oh, he's going for the draw again. Well, that'll do. See, the worry about the draw is always overcooking it. And when the 8 ball's fairly tight to the rail, you don't want to believe in those high angle cuts. And it's gone fairly straight, so now Larry can do nothing but pot it. Now, how good is that in the 8? Well, this is a little tester. Hit it to the jaw, the far jaw, and it's got to drop in. Well, they've got there, but they're not quite. They're still trailing by 1, and now this is going to be the 4th rack that Larry and potman have broke here, trying to get into this match and stay alive. And this time a ball has gone in, and would you believe it? Let's have a look. They've not got a shot in the 2 on the the 1 ball. Can't get to the potting angle. And look at the 9 ball. Now I think potman should play the push out here and roll that 4 onto the 9 and get that 9 back up on the table. Of course, the other problem is when you're playing the push out, you can't just be leaving your opponent a simple enough pot in the 1. You've got to find that compromise And Larry's telling him what to do. Push the 9 in. Now, that's going to be pushed back, I think. Yep. Larry's been given it. Now, I don't think Larry can avoid hitting the 2 here. But can he get that 1 ball somewhere back up the table? Or can he use... Well, he's went all out for it. He's got the pot, but look what's happened. It was all or nothing, and somehow the cue ball's found its way into a pocket, and that is bad luck. And that could be the last shot in the match. Well, there is a slight angle. Plenty of room to come up the table and get on that 4. If you go too far, you can still cut the 4 in. Well, he's not quite got there. This is not ideal. But you would think if he gets this and wink at me, and he gets his add on the 5, the match should be over. Is that going to spin out behind the 9? Yes, it is. Well, the simple shot in the normal course of events would be just roll the 5 in and leave the 6 into the right middle, but you can see the 8 ball's blocking that option. So the cue ball is going to have to come off the side rail and across for the 6 into the opposite middle, or to play it long. And it's neither here nor there. So now there is a decision to be made. Into the middle, or play it long into the top left. Well, that's not the type of shot that Azad would have wanted, but it'll do. And in goes the 8. Is he far enough across? Well, it's still another tester. So this 9 ball for the match and for the cash, virtual cash that is. And in it goes, and Wink at Me and Hazard have stolen the pot, and they win the match by 9 racks to 7. Well, Larry and Potman, they had a crap start in that match. They didn't really get going at all, and then eventually managed to get themselves in it. But what a difference it would have been if they'd actually potted any balls in the break. So 2 racks in it at the end, and that will conclude our surprise little stream of that money match with Larry and Potman and Hazard and Wink at Me. And so with that, folks, or Bedhead, I'll bid you good night, and we'll see you again soon.